what a day it was. Let's give you some of the highlights here, guys. You got the S&P falling the most in September of 2022, but you know what? It could have been worse, closing just down about 3%. We were off the lows as we headed into the close. The futures market pretended it could be a much rougher day. Same with the VIX. Yes, we're at a 37 handle, but we were at a 60 handle. However, how quickly we moved in that inversion, very severe. A week ago, we were at 12. The 210 spread now down by 11 basis points. At one point, we were relatively flat. The first time we've seen that in years. Again, historic moments. And gold spot down by about 1.5%. I want to point that out because when you have to sell things either for liquidity or stop losses or to cover your yen carry trade, you sell the stuff that's been working. And gold has been working, and it did what it's supposed to do. You sell the stuff that wins in order to cover the stuff that doesn't. But gold still, nonetheless, sitting at $2,400 an ounce, Scarlett.
Well, two stocks that have been winning for a long time, definitely on the losing side today. Nvidia and Apple were the two most actively traded company stocks by value. Nvidia, of course, a poster child for AI excitement or hype, depending on your point of view, down on a report that its latest AI chip is going to be delayed due to design flaws. On top of that, there was another report that co-founder and CEO Jensen Huang has been offloading some of his stake in the company, selling $323 million of Nvidia shares in the month of July, just before the tech rout really got underway. So interesting timing. No one is saying it's connected, but it's kind of an aside to what's going on. And Apple losing almost 5% on the day. There is a theme here in terms of prominent investors unloading some of their stakes, because Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has reduced its stake in Apple by half. Still a big shareholder, still holding the stock, but reducing its stake by half, probably a valuation play at this point. Kellanova, I wanted to include because it's up 16% on the day. The snack maker, remember, was spun off from Kellogg's. It jumped on reports that Mars, the privately held candy company, may buy the company. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But our top story this hour really boils down to, did the Fed make a mistake by not cutting rates? Swaps traders seem to think so, because on Friday, they priced in 100 to 125 basis points of easing following that weak jobs report. This morning, they were even more convinced and briefly priced in a 15% probability that policymakers would make an emergency cut before the Fed September meeting. That positioning did fade after a better than expected read on the services sector about 30 minutes after the markets open.